IXL section Z.10, multiply polynomials. All right, today's IXL should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Today you're going to only have one IXL assignment, so this should give you time to catch up on whatever you need to catch up on your other IXL assignments, because starting next class we're going to go into factoring, which is very, very, very important. Okay, you're going to use it a lot in your Algebra 1 class for everything that you're doing for the rest of the year. All right, so please try to get caught up as soon as possible. Okay, now this IXL is basically combining all the multiplication IXLs that we've done before. It should be pretty simple for most of you. All right, so on this slide I have easy examples that I'm going to go over, and then I'll go over a couple of details that I want to point out on the following examples. Okay, so in all of these, you got to find the product and then simplify your answer. So I'll start with this one. All right. In this one, I basically got to distribute the -5 to everything that's inside the parentheses. All right. So I'm going to multiply -5 times each of the three terms that's inside the parentheses. Okay. So when I do that, I'm going to have my answer is going to be -10 p to the second power plus 5p plus 15. All right, that's going to be my answer. Okay, tengo que distribuir el -5 a todo lo que está dentro, a cada término dentro de los paréntesis. Over here, I got a binomial times a binomial. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remember that to multiply two binomials, I got to first take that first term and multiply it times each of the terms in the other parentheses. All right, so 3f times 2f is going to give me 6f to the second power. Then 3f times +1 is going to give me 3f. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this second term right here. -2 times 2f is -4f. And -2 times +1 is -2. Okay, and then I gotta combine like terms. Okay, just one moment. Okay, now I gotta combine like terms. So right here I'm gonna combine the 3f minus the 4f, and my final answer is gonna be 6f to the second power minus f minus 2. Okay, así que recuerden que cuando estoy multiplicando dos binomios, tengo que primero coger el primer término y multiplicarlo por cada uno de los términos dentro de los paréntesis, y después coger este segundo término y hacer lo mismo, multiplicarlo por cada uno de los términos dentro de los paréntesis, y al final tengo que combinar los términos iguales. All right, so right here I got a binomial times a trinomial. We're going to do the same concept that we did here, same exact concept. Okay, aquí tengo un binomio multiplicándose con un trinomio. Y voy a hacer el mismo concepto que hice aquí. So first I'm going to get the first term, 3x, and multiply it times each one of these. All right, so 3x times -4x to the second power. And by the way, you may want to have a paper to write this out on when you're doing this IXL, because some of these you got to work them out, okay? 3x times -4x to the second power is going to be -12x to the third power, because remember, you add the exponents of the x variable. Then 3x times +4x is going to give you +12x to the second power. Then 3x times this +4 is going to give you 12x. Now I'm going to do the same thing but with this term. Okay, ahora lo mismo pero con este término. Y recuerden que los exponentes se suman si las bases son iguales. All right, so +4 times -4x to the second power is -16x to the second power. This +4 times +4x is +16x. And then this +4 times this +4 is +16. And now you got to combine like terms. Okay, ahora combinamos los términos iguales. So 12x squared minus 16x squared. I'm going to have -12x to the third power And the 12x squared minus 16x squared is negative 4x to the second power. So I already got this one in my answer and these two. Okay, now I got to do 12x plus 16x, and that's going to give me 28x. And then the last one is just, this 16 is by itself, so it's going to stay here by itself. And that's my final answer. Okay, ahí está mi respuesta final. Let me do one more like this, all right? So again, over here I got a binomial times a trinomial. So I'm going to take the first term and multiply it times each of the terms in these parentheses. So first of all, 3m times 3m to the second power is 9m to the third power. Then 3m times negative 3m is negative 9m to the second power. Then 3m times positive 1 is positive 3m. Then over here I got positive 2 times 3m to the second power, which is going to give me 6m to the second power. Positive 2 times negative 3m will give me negative 6m. And finally, positive 2 times positive 1 is positive 2. Now I'm going to combine the like terms. So my final answer is going to be 9m to the third power. I can combine this m squared with this one. So negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3m to the second power. Now this 3m and this negative 6m is going to give me negative 3m. And finally, this 2 is the only constant, so it's going to stay by itself. And that's my final answer. Okay, now let's look at when you're multiplying special cases of binomials, which you had that in IXL Z9, if I'm not mistaken. All right, IXL section Z9 was multiplying two binomials, special cases. So this is just a reminder on how to do these. All right. First of all, you could just do what we did before when we were multiplying two binomials. But I just want to point out the special relationship that exists when you have this situation. Okay, notice that in all three of these examples, these two, the first term here is the same as the first term here, and the second term here is the same as the second term here. And one of the binomials is adding and the other binomial is subtracting. The same is true for all of these examples. The same is true for all of these examples, okay? So whenever you have that situation, look at what the answer is going to be. All right? The difference of squares. That means you're going to be subtracting. I'm going to square the first term, so 2k to the squared would be 4k to the second power. And I'm going to square the second term and write it here. So 3 squared is 9. And that's my answer. Okay? Listen, one of the reasons why I'm pointing this out is because when we go into factoring next week, they're going to give you this. The question is going to look like this, and we're going to have to change it to this form. All right? That's what we're going to be doing next week. So that's why I'm pointing this out, okay? Le estoy enseñando esto porque la semana que viene, cuando empezamos a practicar factorizando, le van a dar la pregunta en esta forma y ustedes lo tienen que escribir en esta forma. Así que la respuesta va a ser la pregunta y la pregunta va a ser la respuesta que ustedes tienen que encontrar. Okay, así que siempre cuando existe este patrón que el primer es un binomio por otro binomio, los primeros términos son iguales y los segundos términos son iguales y uno está sumando y el otro está restando, la respuesta siempre es la diferencia de, tengo que cuadrar el primer término y ponerlo aquí, y aquí cuadro el segundo término y lo pongo aquí. Y eso sería la respuesta. También lo pueden hacer multiplicando uno por uno como ya hice en un problema anterior. Pero esta es una manera más rápida. Y quiero que se den cuenta de este patrón. All right, so right here, again, it would be the answer is going to be the difference of squares. So I write the subtraction sign. In the front, I put whatever A is, whatever the first term is, and square it. And in the back, I put whatever the second term is and square it. And that's my answer. Again, if you want to do it the slow way, you could do it. It's better. I mean, I would prefer if you do it the fast way, but the slow way, getting it right the slow way is better than getting it wrong. All right, so whatever you do, just make sure you get it right. The slow way is first j times j is j squared. J times negative 4 is negative 4j. 4 times j is 4j. And 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Okay, notice that when you have this situation that these middle two terms cancel out. All right, that's why it gives you this answer. This situation is going to be true for all of these, okay? Noten que cuando lo hacemos de la manera larga, los dos términos en el medio se cancelan. Por eso es que te da esta respuesta. Esa situación pasa en cada una de estos ejemplos. All right. All right. Now here's another special case, which is when you have the square of a binomial. All right. Right here is the rule. And again, you had that in IXL section Z9, which we already did, if I'm not mistaken. IXL section Z9 was multiply two binomials, special cases. So when you have the square of a binomial, if you're subtracting, like both of these examples are following this pattern right here. This is the question, so the answer has to be in this form. It's really not that difficult to learn this, all right? So what is this form? Okay, at the beginning, you're going to have whatever a is to the second power. So, whoops, I messed up. Whatever a is to the second power, so a is 4d. 4d to the second power is going to be 16d to the second power. Or better said, 4d squared is 16d to the second power. In the back, you're going to have whatever b is to the second power. So whether you look at it as negative 1 or as positive 1, when you square, they're both going to equal positive 1. And in the middle, you're going to have minus 2 times a times b. So 2 times a times b would give us 8d. And that's my answer. Again, if you don't get that, you could always just write it out like this and multiply it, and you'll get the same answer that I just got using that pattern. And listen, just to say it one more time. Give me one moment because I'm giving a class while I'm recording this video, and I'm letting people into the class. So just one second. All right. Okay, so just to reiterate what I said earlier, next week when we start factoring, they're going to give us, the question is going to look like this, like our answer, and our answer is going to look like this. We're going to go backwards. I'll show you how to do it. It's not difficult at all. As long as you know your timetables, it's not going to be difficult, okay? But that's why I'm trying to tell you, please try to catch up. Because if you're not doing anything, it's going to affect you in your Algebra 1 class, and you need that class to graduate. And some of you guys are making really bad decisions because you're going to have to do summer school with Algebra 1, which is really stupid if you ask me. And if you don't do it because you're such a rebel, if you don't do it, guess what? You're going to have to make it up at some point in high school, or they're not going to let you graduate. They're not going to give you your diploma, which is really, really smart. But some of you guys got it all figured out, so we got to let you guys do your thing. And down the road, you'll realize how unwise your decision was and how much harder you made your life just by being lazy right now. Facts, guys. Just giving you the facts. All right, so anyways, let me just say that in Spanish, okay? Otra vez quiero decir que la semana que viene, cuando empezamos a practicar factorizando, la pregunta va a estar de esta forma y ustedes van a tener que encontrar el resultado que sería este. Ok, que la semana que si no lo saben hacer, yo le enseño la semana que viene, no es difícil. Pero por eso le estoy tratando de decir que se den cuenta de estos patrones que existen. Alright, so let's look at this one right here. So again, it's following this same pattern. So that means that when I multiply it, the answer is going to be in this form. Cuando multiplico esto, la respuesta tiene que estar en esta forma. So the first term is a, so I got to square the first term, and I'm going to get 9y to the second power. B is, let's say, negative 2. So negative 2 squared is positive 4. Okay, and the middle part is going to be 2 times a times b. When you multiply 2 times a times b, you're going to get negative 12y. And that's my answer. Again, that's not difficult. Okay, esto no es difícil. All right, and what else do we got to go over for this IXL? Okay, when you get to the challenge zone, we've already done an IXL like this as well, so this should be no problem, all right? When you get to the challenge zone, they're going to give you some very simple geometry, okay, where you got to find the area of a triangle or the area of a parallelogram. I have the formula written for you right here. This is middle school math, so and we've done it this year as well. So to find the area of a triangle, you got to do 1/2 times the base times the height. Para encontrar la área de un triángulo, tienen que hacer la mitad de la base por la altura. Esto sale cuando ya están al final. All right, so right here, the base, in this first example, the area equals 1/2 times the base, which is 6, times the height, which is 3x. All right, you could multiply this in whatever order you want to. If you want to get half of 6, which is 3, and then 3 times 3x, which is 9x, you could do that. Or if you want to do 6 times 3x first to get 18x, and then divide 18x by 2, you get 9x. Either way, you get the same answer. Over here in the middle, so again, the formula is area equals 1/2 of the base. In this case, the base is 2x plus 8, and the height is x minus 5. Okay, when you get this on the IXL, and some of you guys are not sure how to do it, please make a mental note that I'm doing an example right here in this video. All right, so you could always look at the video and see how I did it, because I could see some of you guys getting confused by this one. All right, so what I'm going to do is let's leave the 1/2 for last. Let me first multiply 2x plus 8 times x minus 5, okay? Voy a dejar el 1 sobre 2 para el final. Primero voy a multiplicar estos dos binomials. All right, so 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. And positive 8 times x is positive 8x. And then positive 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. Okay, now when you get half of something, that means divide it by 2. All right, so the quickest way to solve this or to finish this is just divide every single coefficient. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. All right, or divide every single number that you see here by 2. Dividen cada número que está aquí por 2. So my final answer is going to be x to the second power minus 5x plus 4x minus 20. That's my answer. Okay, ya esto es mi respuesta. I just divided every single number by 2. Dividí cada número por 2. All right, and the last example, right here, let's do this one. So the area equals 1/2 of the base. The base is 8 times the height, which is 2x plus 8. What you could do is get half of 8, which is 4, and then distribute the 4 to every one of these terms. Or multiply 8 times 2x plus 8, and whatever you get, divide every number by 2. I'm going to get half of 8, which is 4, and then distribute that. I think that's the easiest way. So 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times 8 is 32, and that's my answer. All right, one more slide of examples, and we'll be done. All right, so this is the last one. I got to get the area. I believe this is the last one. Yeah, it is. All right, so I got to get the area of a parallelogram. So to get the area of a parallelogram is it could look like this, or it could be a rectangle or a square. Those are all parallelograms. So you just multiply the base times the height. It's pretty simple, okay? Para la área de un paralelogramo, se multiplica la base por la altura. All right, so in this one, I'm going to multiply x plus 8 times x plus 4. In other words, a binomial times another binomial. So my answer is going to be x squared plus 4x plus 8x plus 32. And I gotta combine like terms. So my final answer is going to be x squared plus 12x plus 32. Over here in the middle, I'm going to multiply the base times the height. So the area is going to be x times x plus 7. So just distribute the x, and your answer is going to be x squared plus 7x. Very simple. And the last one, I got to again multiply two binomials. So area equals base times height. So the area is going to be 3x plus 6 times x plus 3. So I take the first term and multiply it times each of these terms. So that's going to give me 3x to the second power plus 9x. Now I do the same thing with the second term. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 3 is 18. And now combine like terms right here in the middle. So my final answer, I'll write it at the top because I'm running out of space, is going to be 3x to the second power plus 15x. That's a 15. Plus 18. Okay, that's going to be my final answer. So again, you only have one IXL for today. IXL section Z10, multiply polynomials. I want to highly encourage you to make up any IXLs that you're missing. The semester is ending soon. The semester ends the Thursday before spring break, which is, if I'm not mistaken, March 25th. All right. And I need to wrap up the grades before then. So really, there's like 1 week, about a week, or about 10 days. Now let's say 2 weeks, because this class I could put in the grades really fast. So there's about 2 weeks left in this semester. And next week we're going to start doing factoring, and factoring is taking all the stuff that we did and doing it backwards. It's not that difficult at all. Nothing to be afraid of. The only thing I need for you is to know your timetables. If you know your timetables, and you got to know how to multiply variables. If you know that, then factoring is easy, because I'm gonna show you how to do it in reverse, and it's super important. We're gonna be doing it a lot for the next couple of weeks, even after spring break. And a lot of the problems in your Algebra 1 EOC, which you need to pass to graduate, a lot of those problems involve what we're doing now, what we're doing at the end of the year. So I'm just giving you a heads up, a warning, so that you don't end up in summer school or failing the class or anything like that. All right, guys? All right, so that concludes this lesson. If you have any issues, make sure to look at the video. The assignment is due by 6 a.m. the next day that you have my class. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next week.